There are hundreds upon hundreds of different first-person shooters out there. Some good, some bad, some fast, some slow, and some are somewhere in between. There's no shortage whatsoever if you're looking for a new FPS to play. Because of that, some FPS titles get overlooked and forgotten about, even if they're incredible. One of these titles is Respawn Entertainment's Titanfall 2. Now, people who are in the know will be like, really? An EA game? Aaron, have you lost your damn mind? Yes, EA is known for releasing samey and repetitive annual releases filled with terrible microtransactions. How could a hidden gem like this possibly come from them? Well, because of Respawn, who you may know as the creators of the Star Wars Jedi games. I initially wanted to make this video a retrospective of Titanfall 1 and 2, however, cheaters plagued TF1 so badly with DDoS attacks that Respawn, instead of fixing the cheater problem, delisted the game from all platforms. Now, the only way to play it is to have owned the game before the shutdown or own a physical Xbox One copy. I love it when video games are made unplayable to the mass public. Thank you so much, EA, but I digress. In recent years, the sequel Titanfall 2 has become a cult classic in the FPS genre. To this day, the game has an average of 2,000 players on Steam every day. That is impressive for a game nearly a decade old, and an EA game no less. So what is it about this game that has managed to survive this long? Well, let's talk about it. I'm Aaron the Wolf, and this is There Will Never Be Another Game Like Titanfall 2. If you ask me, the three main things that make Titanfall 2 an incredibly good first-person shooter are as follows: engaging mechanics, intricate level design, and compelling characters. The Titanfall series gameplay is defined by two key aspects: the movement and shooting of pilots, and
we're better together.
The Titans. Movement is a fundamental part of Titanfall's learning curve. In earlier Call of Duty titles, your primary focus during a multiplayer match is running, gunning, and sometimes sliding, depending on the title. In Titanfall 2, you have that as well as wall running. It seems pretty simple on the surface, just run along the predetermined walls to progress, but you can do this with any flat wall, or even keep jumping back to the same wall and running on it. You can use this to reposition yourself during a fight, but you can also use it to gain momentum as well. Titanfall 2 is a much faster game than something like Call of Duty Modern Warfare, so learning how to gain and control your movement during combat will give you a significant edge over the enemies. You can even combo several wall runs into a slide for a super fast burst of speed on the ground. There are a ton of movement tutorials online, and for good reason. You won't be able to master the game overnight, since it takes a lot of time and practice before you can truly wrap your head around it. It seems intimidating, but if you can get even remotely good at it, you may find Titanfall 2 one of the most exhilarating FPSs you'll ever play. On top of learning what all the different weapons do and what situations to use them in, you'll never stop learning or improving in this game. And this is all just the pilot side. There's also the Titans. These things will be a central part of your experience playing the game. I mean, it is in the title for a reason. Whether it's the campaign or the game's multiplayer, you'll pilot these Titans and fight in gigantic battles, usually against other enemy Titans. You can choose between different Titan classes. Ronin is a Titan with a shotgun and a big-ass sword. He's also a bit of a glass cannon, meaning he can kill quickly, but also gets killed quickly, so learning to master his mechanics is essential for survival. Northstar is a flying Titan with a sniper rifle. I'm not that good with him, but my favorite Titan to use, in the multiplayer anyway, is Legion. Why, you ask? Because he's essentially the heavy weapons guy from Team Fortress 2 as a giant robot. Learning to master both the pilot and Titan gameplay is what separates a bad player from a good one. There are so many different factors to consider in any one fight that it can feel pretty overwhelming for a new player. The game doesn't exactly do a good job of preparing new players to learn all these complex mechanics. Say, where have I seen that before? but once you master the game's mechanics, you may find one of the most fun first-person shooters of the current millennium. But you can't have fun mechanics without good maps, which brings us to the levels in TF2's campaign are not just fun to play through, but also a great example of how environmental storytelling can enhance a game's world. We start with a typical jungle battlefield before traversing what appears to be a sewer. Oh hey look, it's EA's headquarters! Then, your Titan named BT gets captured and taken through a factory. As you traverse the factory, the giant platforms you ride on will slowly add more over time, with building structures and training dummies before finally being completed and taken to a soldier training ground. It's really neat to fight through hordes of enemies at the end, knowing we've been on the battlefield since its inception. But that's not the best part of the campaign. No, that title belongs to the chapter Effect and Cause. You and BT discover this destroyed research complex in search of another character. What makes this a standout moment of the game is that you'll find Major Anderson's body and gain a device that lets you travel back and forth between the past and the present. This is initially used to discover the facility's plans to create a weapon using time to destroy planets, but you can also use it during the actual gameplay. Being able to switch between the past and present with just one button press and have it be as seamless as possible makes for easily the most memorable part of the campaign. It's also impressive on a technical level too. Games like Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart and Alan Wake 2 have you instantly switching to different environments all the time. But this was back in 2016. Senior designer Jake Keating came up with the idea after watching the History Channel series Life After People, which asked the question of what would happen if humanity suddenly disappeared one day, and what happens if they keep swapping from past to present. I know I'm going into a lot of detail about this one part of the game, but it's one of the best missions in any FPS campaign I've ever seen. Now, you'd think that would mean it goes downhill from there, but the last two chapters, Trial by Fire and the Fold Weapon, are both great final levels. Apparently, past Aaron didn't realize that there's also the arc in between these two chapters because he's a big stupid fucking idiot. Trial by Fire has you and BT in an all-out battle against a bunch of enemy titans with your team of titans. You then infiltrate enemy ships to take back a power core before coming face to face with one of the Apex Predator's deadliest mercenaries, Viper. I could go on and on about the different levels, but to sum it up, there's probably not a single dull level in this entire campaign. All that being said, the gameplay and the level design are great and all, but I don't think that's the main reason the campaign itself has stuck with so many people. No, the real reason is the chemistry between Rifleman Jack Cooper and Titan BT-7274. The Titanfall 2 campaign might be one of the best in any futuristic first-person shooter, and it's all thanks to our two main characters, Cooper and BT. Cooper is a rifleman who's trained to hopefully become an actual pilot. Then, after BT's original pilot is killed in action, Captain Ty Lastimosa makes a last-ditch effort to transfer control of BT to Cooper, and throughout the campaign, the two have to work together to stop the opposing forces from winning the war. Aside from the strong writing that carries most of the game's dialogue, part of the reason these two work so well as characters is their voice actors. Jack Cooper is played by Matthew Mercer, so you know he's gonna have a great actor to do the heavy lifting. But it gets even more interesting when you put into perspective the kind of characters Matt Mercer is known for. Most of the characters Mercer is cast for are badass, suave, and confident. Jack Cooper is not any of those things. He's simply a rifleman out of his element, forced to enter situations he's unequipped for. Sure, he's efficient with the various guns he finds throughout his journey, but he's never had to operate a real Titan before. Speaking of Titans, BT-7274 is voiced by Glenn Steinbaum. Glenn is not typically known for voiceover work in video games. His main work is TV and radio commercials, and there's a good chance you've heard his voice without even realizing it.
Wicked, rated PG.
With that said, he gives arguably the best voice performance in this entire game. Despite being a machine, BT has a sense of comfort and warmth in his character. No matter what situation the two are in, he always seems to know where to go and what to do, which, for an unprepared rifleman like Jack, as well as the player, is a much needed thing in a hazardous world like this. The two's dialogue make for some of the most organic chemistry and growth I've ever seen in any first-person shooter. All of it leads up to what is arguably the best scene in the game. During the Effect and Cause chapter, BT throws a light post with a wire attached to it to help Cooper reach the top of a building, prompting Cooper to say,
Nice. Maybe next time you can throw me.
Noted.
Later on in the chapter, The Beacon, Cooper and BT are looking for an uplink targeting module, which is found on some platforms that can't be easily accessed, thus leading to BT to conclude that a throw is their only option. And I think I'll let the moment speak for itself.
Wind, 3 knots, heading 274. Range, 95 meters. Projectile mass, 89 kilograms. Trust me.
It's one thing to watch the cutscene in a YouTube video, but it's another thing to experience this moment in-game. It solidifies the bond that Cooper and BT have, starting from mere allies working together through circumstances beyond their control, to genuine friends looking out for each other. Another amazing moment is when Commander Sarah Briggs is updated on what happened to BT's original pilot, and she tells BT that she'll get him transferred to a fully qualified pilot. Yet, BT responds,
Objection. Cooper is my pilot.
Wow. BT is a real one for that. And then they both go on to win the war and live happy lives. Yep, that's what happens. You don't need to worry about them at all. They're perfectly fine. So yeah, this game is a fun, cleverly designed, well-written masterpiece. I'm so glad it got the critical and commercial success it deserved.
You serious?
I'm sure some of you are wondering, well, if this game's so good, why haven't I heard anything about it? Where was all the hype for it when it came out? Well, there are two major reasons. First, Titanfall 2 came out in 2016, meaning that it had to compete with several other more popular shooters like Overwatch, Doom 2016, Battlefield 1, and Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. It was a massive year for first-person shooters, and with as big of names as these, it's a bit understandable why Titanfall 2 was swept under the rug. But okay, that doesn't mean that EA couldn't still support it after release, I hear you say. Which, first of all, you're giving EA way too much credit. Even EA's best multiplayer titles struggle to last more than a year or two. But the real reason Titanfall 2 ultimately faded from public consciousness was because of Apex Legends. By 2019, multiplayer shooters had gone from $60 annualized shooters like Call of Duty to free-to-play battle royale shooters like Call of Duty. The year prior, the two biggest games in the world were Fortnite and PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, and they were making billions of dollars. Of course, companies like EA and Activision were gonna jump on that bandwagon. So, in 2019, we got two more Battle Royale titles, Call of Duty Warzone and Apex. I admittedly was semi-regular with playing Apex a few years back, as it would introduce mechanics that would become mainstays in every other Battle Royale shooter, like placing markers and being able to respawn teammates. Hey, I get it, cause the developers are called Respawn. So funny. Unsurprisingly, Apex was incredibly profitable for EA when it came out, what with its battle passes and microtransactions. That said, Apex's universe, guns, and even game mechanics are ripped straight out of Titanfall. Nothing like using the DNA of a failed game to create an infinitely more successful one. Thus, ever since Apex Legends blew up in 2019, the Titanfall series has been stuck in an indefinite limbo, as the publishers make love to their more successful younger game. Frankly, it's amazing how similar Titanfall 2 and TF2 are, right down to their acronyms. Two first-person shooters that people loved playing when they came out that ultimately have been left to die by the developers with next to no updates and several invasions of bots and cheaters. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like that's changing anytime soon for either game, but there's still hope. a group of modders came together to create the North Star client, which not only created a safe space from cheaters, but also gave the game support for mods and modded game modes. Much like the other TF2, the community is keeping this game alive for the foreseeable future. This goes to show that sometimes, just because a game isn't a smash hit at launch, doesn't mean it can't still be a worthwhile experience. Likewise, just because a game has a lot of press and marketing surrounding it, doesn't mean it's good. Just ask Ubisoft. So if I convinced you that Titanfall 2 is worth experiencing, get it as soon as you can. The game is worth playing just for the fantastic campaign alone, but the multiplayer, provided you find a way to play it without any cheaters, is also incredibly satisfying to improve at. While it probably won't convince EA to finally give us Titanfall 3, it'll still be a substantial, fun as hell experience through and through. I'm Aaron the Wolf, and I'll see you all next time. Stay strong and live life. Hey everyone, it's Aaron. I hope you enjoyed the video. I just want to take a quick moment to announce that I am starting a Patreon. That's right, since I hit 1,000 subs, I'm now finally able to monetize my videos, but even I know that that's not gonna do much for me financially, so I'm starting a Patreon. The different tiers include Bronze tier, which is just a way of saying thank you. Silver tier, you get access to my exclusive Patreon Discord server, you can view my video scripts once they're done, and you also get 1 week early access to my videos before they go public. And finally, Gold tiers get the same thing as Silver tiers, but Gold tiers will also have their name spoken at the end of my videos. These videos take a really long time to make, even if they're only 15 to 20 minutes long, so any financial support that you guys can give me means a lot. Prior to this, I have not made any money off of YouTube, and I do this purely just for fun. So if you like what I do and you want to support me in any way you can, now you can. Just check the link in the description to join my Patreon today. Also, I have a Ko-Fi page if you simply want to donate and don't really care about the Patreon benefits. Regardless, any support that you guys can give me means a lot. Anyway, hope you're all staying safe out there, stay strong, and live life.